was looking at it.
Welcome back to Media7. We were running a rhetorical pillow fight around the idea that it's still a man's world in the media, with Lucy Lawless, Peta, Matthias and Pam Corkery as the fluffy stuffing, and Sean Plunket, Finlay, Macdonald and Mikey Havoc as the sax. Pam.
What did you just call me, buddy?
Fluffy stuffing.
Do you want to come
You
out
can be
the
a
back
sack
and
if you
say
want.
that?
Applause to the author.
Yes. Pam,
Screenwriter.
I am going to get mildly serious here and ask you about being a female talkback host, because there aren't many of them. It's considered a man's game, particularly, you know, the high-profile ones.
But all of life is a man's game, so the media reflects that. I mean, why are we surprised that the media is misogynist? You know, gynophobia runs rampant through all aspects of the media. I never thought of myself as a female media talkback host. I just thought of myself as a talkback host. But then once I got into it, I realised that women talkback hosts are far better than men, because men will start their program saying, the earth is flat, and people will ring up with evidence to the contrary, not just opinions, evidence. And at the end they'll go, I proved my point. Leighton Smith, brilliant. I love hearing him. I turn on just to hear him say, you're wrong, and I'll tell you why after the break. And then he'll run out and talk to his female producer and go, why is he wrong? Why is he wrong? I have seen this happen. You're absolutely wrong. I'll tell you why after the break. But men won't be swayed, whereas women will start a talkback shift with a proposition that you feel passionately. Oh, gosh, it might not be founded on fact. Oh, I might just shift with that, because that's what we do. We have shades of grey. We're evolved human beings. Whereas with men, that would involve some shrinkage, and they can't do it.
It's funny because I had exactly that conversation with Kerry Witham. She finds it quite difficult to fill in for Leighton Smith because his listeners want to be told what to think. And she's more interested in relating to them.
They need to be, really.
Touché, you would say that, though.
Yes.
I wouldn't get too uppity about that. The morning report crowd's not exactly escapees from a Mensa meeting.
No, at least he's not wearing a cardigan.
Next stop, the Destiny Church.
Yeah.
See,
the master
that's a
blaster.
perfect example. That's a perfect... Put my drink down. Perfect example is... as males in the media, Brian Tamaki, I talked about this on the radio this morning. If something happened, God forbid, to the bishop, it's not going to be Destiny Church with Hannah Tamaki, is it? You know,
What do you think?
Oh,
Timmy, whatever.
That man is dynamite. He is a figurehead.
But why do we talk? I've made arguments
a man
with this.
in the media.
Why is he given so much media? We're not being forced to go to his church. I'm actually surprised it's a bloke and he's talking about Jesus, you know? Well, there's been nuns doing that forever.
Pam, you need to figure this out. It's because he's a guy, and the same thing happens with the Pope.
And also, to be
Pope now as well.
To be fair, he can walk and talk and think at the same time. It's almost breaking news more than a story, isn't it?
But the
man walks and talks and thinks.
Pam, the real question is, why are there no female cult leaders? What's wrong with you? Why can't you start a cult and run it successfully and then get everyone to drink the Kool-Aid and
what
die?
she said.
I've got
She says we have a
knickers
proposition
on.
that we don't know
you
everything.
say that's not a cult.
Well, fair enough. I'm all for that cult.
Well, these guys are a bunch of cults, but...
Sorry, Dale.
Are you allowed to say cult on your show?
We are allowed to say
That's
cult
right,
on our
you got
show.
that one.
Actually, another semi-serious question, Sean. You will quite often, of a morning, butt heads with someone you're interviewing. Is there a male element there? Is there an alpha dog thing going on?
No.
No, not sure.
Thank you for answering that for me, Finlay. No, I'm just, you know, speaking truth to power. No, there's not.
You sure there's not?
No, it's not. It's a contest of ideas, and it's a search for truth and information and understanding. And I would suggest that I have in the past as often butted heads with women when we think back to our recent political leadership as I have men. And I've got to say, I always found Helen Clark far more macho than John Key.
Was that a... Well, yeah, that's a really interesting point.
Yeah. You see, why is she macho when she's actually was more intelligent?
I use the term in a loving
deeper.
and respectful way. She had kahunis.
Why? If you're going to go low, go hard.
Yeah.
Kahunis?
Cajones.
Cajones.
Are you suggesting Mr. Key has less cojones?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Kahuni less, perhaps.
Yeah.
Oh my God, in
testicles.
comparison-
Well, it wasn't. Look, let's go back to what Pam was saying about people being prepared to change their position. Women perhaps being more emotionally open to the idea of compromise and listening to another person's point of view. I think we could look back in this past year of the national government and see that John Key can move pretty quick
Yeah,
in
that's
all
true.
sorts of positions.
No, but
He's very adaptable.
we've moved on to the issue of presence of a spine.
Yeah.
And that's a completely different anatomical thing, you know.
Yeah.
And no, I was saying with talkback, it's if
Show us your spine.
you were swamped with like logic and fact, you would have to go, oh, I didn't know that. Now, men can't say, and I might include your good self in your archaeological dig or search for truth and justice, that happens in the morning. Men can't say, I didn't know that. It's like a fur ball. They go, oh,
we can.
you know, I didn't know that. We'll go to
I
a break
didn't know
and
that
I'll
men
find
couldn't
out.
say,
It's like saying
I didn't
sorry.
know that, Pam.
I didn't know that either, Sean.
I also didn't know that women say it all the time as well.
We do.
Really?
Yeah. Really? That's 6 inches?
So
I
easily
didn't know
straight.
that.
Are you not sure that when you're saying, I didn't know that, it's actually coming out as, you don't understand me?
What was it?
This is
No,
turning
sorry,
into a
I
good
missed
old
the
fashioned battle of the
interpretive dance.
sexes.
It is.
But, yeah, what's it?
Yeah, which our producer will be delighted because that was his original idea.
He's Australian.
Lucy, actually, I'm interested in this John Key thing. You've recently been and made representations to him. Do you think that he does appear open to change and open to ideas? Does that work for him, do you think? It seems to be so far.
Well,
And
it
is
seems to be
feminine?
working
is
with
it
the
feminine
people.
to do that?
No, I don't think so. I think that goes back to the fact that he is a trader in, I don't know, stocks and bonds or something. What was he?
He's a currency trader.
Right. So he will go wherever his nose leads him. And he's got a pretty unerring sense of what's good for him and what's good, just where things are at right now.
The
What's political
appropriate
climate?
trading position.
The appropriate trading position. Thank you,
yeah,
Sean.
That's right.
And
Risk management.
I would just like to think that he would have a sense of what's good for the community is good for him rather than, you know, what's good for the economy is good for the planet at large, because...
You
Why is that on your
plug.
boobs?
Well done, you.
Because that's the only place I thought you'd notice it.
Yeah,
That's true.
that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yes.
Single
yes.
cell organism.
I am
Yeah.
interested in this because it seems there's a degree of role rehearsal there in presentation. Helen Clark had to appear stern, John Key appears soft and giving.
Charismatic,
Oh, is that
Russell.
how he...
Charismatic.
John Key, you're a bit in love with him as well, aren't you?
Yeah.
They're human beings. And there are I think men are as
Ex-politician.
trapped as women are by the stereotypes we're sort of perpetuating here tonight. The men are all sort of thunderous and big bison,
Excuse
little
me?
bison. And,
I've always
with the
looked at
exception
Finlay
of
as
Jesse,
pretty bloody
with the exception of Jesse
My little
Peach
buddy
on TV3 News. What is he? Pop him on your lap. Good. Tell me a story, Jesse.
And thunders Mike McRoberts.
But the women too have the attack pearls and the commando brooch and that's the thing that media bosses do to them. They're wearing suit jackets. They would never be seen out in public with a gunpoint. Get on telly. Next thing you're double-breasted. How the hell did that happen? You know, and their hair's Lego hair.
The guns that come out of their nipples like the fembots. You know?
You'd
That
like
would have
that,
been
eh? You'd be more interested in the news.
I said red.
Yeah.
Oh, actually,
You're getting more filthy.
well, I
Disgusting.
think that's
This
our
chat
cue
goes
to look at a couple of very different newsreaders, one of whom is my favourite newsreader in the world, but you'll see her. Can we look at the newsreaders now?
This is 7 News.
Good evening. Sydney police are searching for a child sex predator who may be just a teenager himself.
Nous vous proposons de revivre ce soir quelques-uns des grands moments de l'année, riches dans tous les domaines. Et comme émission, nous sommes tous réunis au Liban, à l'affaire Outreau, en passant par la fronde anti-CPE, à la grippe aviaire, dont on entend perspective, nous fera le plus grand bien avant de laisser la place à 2007.
That was Ian Roscoe Ross of Australia's 7 Network, the most roomy-eyed newsreader I've ever seen, and Melissa Tiurio. Sean,
was your favourite?
Is it wrong? Is it wrong of
And
me
why?
to think that I would watch a lot more news if Melissa Tiurio read it all the time?
If she spoke English.
In French? No, French is good.
No, if she spoke English.
I don't care what she said.
I think we touch here on something very, very interesting about particularly television and the media, and it is not women or men who are discriminated against in any way. Ugly people are discriminated against on television, and
Older people.
older people. And strangely enough, I would look to the United States as a place where in television and media there is still some residual respect for the idea of experience, and plenty of grey-haired reporters out there.
Men.
And grey-haired. And Barbara Walters, I mean, Jesus Christ, she's pushing 90.
Barbara Walters had 3,000 facelifts and she has 3,000 filters on the camera. Male presenters don't have that.
Oh, I don't know.
They do.
Dan Rather and other people like that,
She's
you look at them,
asking
there's
for
been
it,
a
are
lot
you
of work.
kidding?
But what I'm saying is what they are respected for is their experience and what they bring to the job. And I've got to say, I look at both television networks here, and this is no way any personal bitterness, the bastards, but I see a sort of cycle of young people coming up and people when they get to the age literally of their mid-30s perhaps, being moved on into management or taken off air, when really they are at the time when they are developing and flowering into being really good journalists and the people we do need
Less
to
so
hear
in
from.
Australia, Sean.
Yeah, and I'd agree
You look
with
at
you
the
on that.
serious
Yeah.
presenters in
And
Australia.
I know I'm meant to be on your side, but I do think that's more true for women than it is for men.
Much more.
And I've only got to say
Much
two
more.
words to prove it. Mark Sainsbury.
I can't believe you.
Very good call.
Very good
Excellent
call.
Excellent call. I with Sean completely, because Brian Henderson in Australia, for example, they begged him to stay the newsreader, and he was over 70, and he had built up such gravitas and loyalty, and it was the ad campaign was because Brian told me, and he was just a gun guy from Dunedin, might I add. Whereas I turn the telly on at night, and they've got this sort of array of young
Oh,
ones.
that Wendy, she's very, very hot.
No.
I mean, Christ, they made that.
12-year-olds.
And they were selling that message to their audience, which was just unbelievable in a news context.
But also,
It's also the quality of the news, though, as well.
They're stamped out from a workshop, a sheltered workshop
Yeah,
on
a
some
blog.
Russian
Yeah.
production line. You know, a friend of mine was producing a big thing recently, and if in doubt, it was a live show, she'd just call out Kylie, we'll cross now to Kylie. Chances were there was a Kylie there. She didn't miss, you know. And,
We are going to take a break now. We'll be back soon to wrap up this discussion.